I've been a bus driver for 6 years now. But when this happened to me, I'd only been working a month and this was my first shift on my own with no one supervising me. I worked the night shift as I have 3 kids to look after, so it was around 3 o'clock in the morning and my shift had just finished and I had to drive the bus back to the depot. The buses in England have cameras that can be monitored in the driver's cabin to keep an eye on the upper level of the bus. As the bus wasn't in use, all the lights were turned off and only a small amount of light was given off from the street lamps on the roads. I was driving for around 20 minutes in the dark when I saw something move in the corner of the monitor screen. I had a quick check and couldn't really make out anything, so I just kept my eyes on the road. That was until I saw it again. This time, I fully looked at the screen and was utterly shocked at what I saw. Around the middle of the bus, it looked like someone was sitting down on one of the seats, looking at the floor. Hello? I called out, completely terrified as I was 100% sure no one was left on the bus. However, I did forget to completely check between the seats. The person didn't answer and this made me even more creeped out. I thought to myself they must have fallen asleep or something and missed their stop. I pulled over at the closest bus stop and checked the monitor again. The person was still sat there staring at the floor. It was so dark, I couldn't really make out what they looked like. "Excuse me, pal. I think you missed your stop. This bus is out of service now and I'm returning it to the depot. I'm afraid you're going to have to get off here." I turned away from the monitor and put the lights on for the bus. When I looked back at the monitor, the mysterious person was nowhere to be seen. Oh God, they're hiding from me. Brilliant. I really didn't want anything bad to happen on my first shift, so I got out of the cabin and started to walk up to the upper level. As I walked up the stairs, I called out, "Excuse me, you're going to have to get off the bus now. This bus isn't in service. I'm really sorry, I didn't see you." I reached the second level of the bus and sighed as it appeared the person was still hiding. "Come on, pal, I don't have time for this," I muttered in quiet annoyance. But when I reached the back of the bus, that's when my stomach dropped. There was absolutely no one but myself on the bus. My body shivered as I rushed back to the cabin. I looked back at the monitor and again, there was no one to be seen. Safe to say, I drove all the way back to the depot with the bus lights on and avoiding looking at the monitor. I don't know if it was just my imagination as I was already scared, it being my first shift and all. But it's never happened to me again since. And I've got to say, I'm really glad it's not.
This is an encounter my mother had shortly after I was born. It takes place in the mid-1980s in central London. It's early summer, and being London, this means hot and muggy. Some background. I am my mother's firstborn, though not first pregnancy. The women in my family have health issues, which means we are prone to miscarriages, and pregnancy is basically hell. Right before falling pregnant with me, my mother had experienced her first miscarriage, and well, she was not in the best state of mind. She was incredibly depressed and fearful that something would go wrong with me. This was not helped by the fact that she didn't even have a bump until she was 8 months gone, and rather than gain weight, she had lost it due to extreme morning sickness, and had dropped from a UK size 8 to 10 to a UK 4 to 6. Additionally, during my birth, she had required resuscitation after almost dying from complications, and I had been born with some health issues. So, all in all, she was not a healthy pup, and neither was I, but at least I slept a lot, so she got rest at least. Anyway, at this point, I'm about 6 weeks old. My mother is still really ill and run down, but she needs to sort out a passport for me so she can show me off to her family in Spain before we moved abroad to Israel. My dad is Israeli and had been offered a job back home. However, at the time, and being at the age I was, the only option was to put me either on my dad's or my mother's passport until I was older. Since my dad was working at the time, this meant going to the Spanish embassy, my mother is Spanish, and getting my name added to my mother's passport. So, hot and muggy day in London, the Spanish embassy is incredibly slow at doing anything and spent ages messing my mother around before finally telling her she needs to come back the following week to complete the passport process. My mother isn't happy as she's still ill and fed up, plus she has me in a papoose across her chest which only adds to the heat. She goes down the steps to the tube platform so she can catch the tube home, but there are delays, so she has to wait. Around her are a mix of people, but mostly men in business suits. She doesn't notice the tall, heavily built black guy staring at her until he's by her side. He starts trying it on with her, telling her how he could show her a good time and if she was up for it. My mother glares, points to me in the process, and sternly tells him that she's a married mother and is in no way interested in him or anyone else for a good time. The guy starts getting more aggressive with his approach. He keeps telling her how he's gonna give her the time she'll never forget and starts trying to touch her. My mother pushes him away and tells him to back off. At this point, the other commuters are starting to notice something is up, but don't do anything. The guy then makes a grab for my mother and tries to pick her up and pull her towards the tube steps. He makes a go to reach for me in the process so as to throw me off, and my mother at this point flips. Now, the way my mother describes it, she says it was like a red haze. All she knew was that I was in danger, and she was too ill and fed up to be pushed around by some rapey asshole. She yanked herself away from his grip, and proceeded to start punching, scratching, and kicking the guy with all her strength. She didn't care that she was barely chest height to him, she just wanted him away from her. The guy was screaming at her that she was crazy and he would kill her, but she kept on attacking him. The other commuters, after watching in shock for a few seconds, suddenly realised that they need to do something and step in to help my mother. The police are called, and the guy, now flat out on the ground, is arrested. My mother is shaking. She's still angry and wants to keep beating on the guy, but some of the other commuters are holding her back, trying to calm her down. One of the commuters comes up to her and tells her that that was the bravest and most stupid thing he's ever seen a woman do. She asks why, and he points out that the guy is being taken away had a knife and was trying to use it to stab her and me as she was attacking him. At this point, the reality of the situation sunk in. This guy had wanted essentially to rape and kill her, and when she'd attacked, she had come incredibly close to having both herself and me killed. She burst into tears and was assisted home by the other commuters.
Hey, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I just want to give a huge shout out to The Fair for letting me collaborate with him. Such a nice guy to collaborate with. Go check his channel out in the link in the description below. And yeah, thanks guys. See you later.